I started doing videos for a couple of reasons. The first of those is that I take a sort of a more timeless approach than I think a lot of people do. I think there are a couple of people out there who are also trying to take that same sort of approach to life, and that's nice. The other thing that I noticed is that there are people who are saying things, and they're saying things that are often good things, but they're not what I consider to be sort of complete things. It's not that what they're saying is in itself incomplete so much as I think there's more that can be said that maybe they're not bringing out. Their ideas are sort of compact and sort of complete and sort of discrete. And I'm not saying that they're not. So that's the case. That it's not so much that I'm trying to argue that they're incomplete or whatever. It's that I'm saying I think that I have some things to bring out that they don't. I want to start this piece by voicing my agreement with many folks on the right, discussing the idea that strategy is a called for thing in the political realm. I want to add that I see a part of that strategy being sort of unity, and I pretty much never see the idea of splitting the vote in any given race as a good thing. I pretty much never see that to be the case. That said, I want to discuss the totally acceptable, whether or not reasonable, idea of a third party, or even more than three. Hello and welcome to the Daily Summation from Kurt's Religion and Politics. I am your host. I am Kurt. Today is Sunday, the 31st of January of 2021. We're getting ready to start a new month. Welcome to everybody who's here on Rumble, on YouTube, and on the podcast. The subject of today's little discussion will be political parties. And I wanted to talk about the idea that a lot of people have raised of this new Trump Party or what's the other one, Patriot Party or whatever. And I wanted to say, first of all, that people need to realize that this is not some new thing. In fact, it's not even warm from cold from the last time it happened, right? The last time it happened was the Tea Party, you can remember, without thinking too hard. And there are others too that I'm quite sure that you can add to the list. Libertarians have been around for quite a while now, but even they are not horribly old in the sort of more modern incarnations of what they're doing. Here's the thing. Even though that's true, what I'm not trying to do is say that there's no sense in the idea of another party. Okay? I want to sort of clarify where I see the problem to be and what I think we need to do from a strategic perspective if you decide that you want to be a member of another party. Okay, and I want to make it very clear to you that in an official sense, it is a bad idea to have another party. To have another party on the ballot, to have another party being voted for, that's a bad idea. To have people who come together under a banner, whether you call it a party or social group or whatever you call it, is a different thing, though. It's okay for you to consider yourself a part of the Patriots Party, so long as you realize that when your candidate runs, most of the time he or she, unless they have overwhelming support greater than any other party, must run under one of the accepted parties, that is Democrat or Republican. And if they don't, things are not going to work well. I do see that there are reasons for other parties. I think that it allows you to codify your ideals, ideas, and so forth. And I think that that's an important and necessary thing, and I think that we need to allow for that. That said, I do not think from a strategic perspective it makes people from a third, fourth, fifth, however many party to run under anything but one of the major platforms unless they're running in a place where it won't harm anything for them to do so. And then what will have to happen is they will have to align themselves with one of the major parties when they actually get into positions of power, as a rule. So the point here, the point that I'm making, the thing that I'm saying is, remember that having another party is not the same as running as one. It's not the same as officially being a third party that's against one of the other parties, because this again is almost certainly going to result, as many people have said, and this I agree with, in the idea of splitting the vote. In the end, the important thing is for people to have and hold sound principles, ideals, and ideas. That's not something a new party will cause to happen, right? It's not just not. What's needed here, what we need in the United States, is something that we haven't had to the appropriate degree in a very long time. What do we need? We need statesmen. We have to have people who will put the country and their fellows at least on a level with themselves, if not above them. Okay? This is what we need. This is what's needed. We need people who have a solid understanding that they are serving at the will of the people and that their job is to do what's best for those people. That's the thing that we need. That said, I don't think there's anything wrong with the idea of creating a third party, so long as you don't make it so that you end up splitting the vote when you do so. If you want a Patriot Party, that's fine, that's great. But when your Patriot Party candidate, just like when your Tea Party candidate runs, if he or she runs as a Patriot Party candidate or a Tea Party candidate, in many instances, not only count on that person to lose, but count on the other person that would be your second choice to lose as well. The Republican, say, for example, or if it's something that's far left, maybe the Democrat. And so the point is, if you've got somebody running as a socialist, the chances are pretty good they're going to split the vote with the Democrat, because people see socialists as more willing to accept, or Democrats as more willing to accept what socialism is all about. The same thing applies to something like a Patriot Party. If you have a person who runs on a Patriot Party platform and runs as a Patriot Party member, the chances are they're going to split the vote with the Republican and make it so the Democrat wins. Just as if a socialist and a Democrat run, there's a good possibility that neither of them is going to win because they're going to split the vote. It's the same thing in both cases, right? This is what you need to keep in mind. And this is what I think a lot of people are trying to say. They're not trying to say don't sort of solidify, don't gel, don't codify your perspectives, your ideas, your ideals, and so forth in a sort of party platform. They're trying to say, be smart about what you do and don't just assume that because you've done that, you can go out there and run under that party and win. It's a nice idea, but your idea that you'll get Democrats when you're running as a Patriot Party person, and you'll get Republicans, and therefore you'll win even if you don't get all the Republicans, is a bad one. It's proven time and time again to be broken. Yet again, let's be clear. That doesn't mean that I'm saying to you, don't create what amount to groups, whether parties or not, who support particular ideals. And by the way, when you look at people, if you find that you're in a situation where you have to vote for a Republican or a Democrat, or vote between Republicans, look at the people that you're dealing with, that you have to vote for, that you have to work towards, that you have to work with. Look at those people and say, which of these people more embodies the ideals that I have? And doing something like counting yourself a patriot or being part of what you consider a Patriot Party may help you to recognize, to realize, and to understand what your ideas, your ideals, your desires are. It may do that. But the point is not to actually split the vote when it comes time for you to get somebody into office. And I have news for you. If your, quote, Patriot Party candidate can't win the office running as a Republican, then you best vote for the Republican, otherwise you're going to get a Democrat. So even if you have somebody who claims to be part of a Patriot Party or a Tea Party or a Socialist Party or whatever it happens to be, okay, and but that person can't win when they are running against somebody else who happens to be a Republican or a Democrat, right? Rhino, whatever they happen to be. Guess what? Better pick the Rhino, because the option is that you're gonna get the Democrat. Or if you're a Democrat and you don't want the Republican, better pick the Democrat, because the chances are you're not going to get the person who's running as a socialist, right? This is what you have to understand. Again, it's really ultimately all about people, not parties. That's okay for you to have other parties, and I'm not saying it's not, so keep that in mind. All right, it's getting time for me to wrap this up. It is, again, the 31st of January of 2021. Today is Sunday. That means it's the beginning of the week for a lot of us. Beginning of the work week will be on tomorrow, the 1st of February 2021. That will be Monday, obviously. That's when many of us are working, start our work week. For those of you that are working on the work weekend, again, I thank you and I salute you. Thank you very much for what you do. Know that at least some of us appreciate that you're out there doing that. And we've done that ourselves. Trust me, it's not something that we haven't done as well. All right, yet again, hope you're having a good day. Hope your week to come is a good one. And hopefully we will see you again tomorrow. The speaker on this edition of the Daily Summation is Kurt Schubert. This video is recorded on Sunday, the 31st of January, 2021. The Daily Summation is created for Kurt's Religion and Politics. Thanks for watching this edition of the Daily Summation from Kurt's Religion and Politics. I hope you found it entertaining or instructional, or maybe both. If you want to see more from me, you can go to blogs.kpschubert.com. That's blogs.kpschubert.com. I am on Twitter, Parler, and Minds.com. My handle on each of those is @kpschubert. That's @kpschubert. I have a Rumble and a YouTube channel. They are the Kurt's Religion and Politics channels on Rumble and YouTube. I have a Facebook page. The Facebook page is Kurt's Religion and Politics as well. I am on Patreon. If you want to support me, that's one of the better places you can do that. And you will find me at Kurt's Religion and Politics on Patreon. I have a podcast. The podcast is podcasts with an S. .kpschubert.com. That's podcasts.kpschubert.com. I think you should be able to find me with relative ease on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Spotify as well. The best way I find to do that is to look for Kurt's Religion and Politics. You can try to use the Daily Summation. I find that it doesn't work as well as a general rule, but you can always try that. I'm glad to have you aboard today, and hopefully we will see you again tomorrow.